A little ASMR. Nothing like a chai tea on Monday morning. This is Tamira Hamilton here, and I am so excited to come here and talk to you about something that, as you probably know, if you've been following me, I am very passionate about. Because as I say, I will fight you about my content. So this really came to me over the weekend. And it's been inspired by my own experience, plus what I see other creators in the space talk about, and that is how to remain an original in a world full of fakes and cheap copies. Okay. Have you ever wrote the best social media post of your life only to find someone copied and pasted it word for word without even giving you credit? And, you're sitting there wondering, like, did I write that for you or did I write that for me? I'm sure it has happened to you. It has happened to me on multiple occasions. If I were to tell you all of the different companies, the different brands, the different influencers. Oh, he got to go. How do I get rid of him?
Join.
You need to leave. How did you get here? There we go.
Hello.
There we go. We'll just end that and we'll have to go back to that and do that some other time. That was interesting. I was blocking him and declining, and there's a random man on my TikTok live. But anyway, so let's go back to the top. Okay. So if you have ever made an image, made a video, I've had videos literally downloaded and uploaded to other people's Facebook pages. I mean, yes, it had my logo on it and that, but it was just really weird to see somebody steal my content like that and post it. I've had people download images that I spent my time and ingenuity creating to post, and I mean, like, really cheaply, like look like a 3-year-old with a marker, cover up my watermark and try to put out there as their own. And some of that unfortunately comes with being in certain spaces like affiliate marketing and direct sales. That's just part of the underbelly of it. But I've also had companies and supposed leaders, like there is a leader of a company who actually was hired by the company based off of the work that she stole from me and presented as her own. Lee Rader did. Yes. She literally was copying and pasting my posts and my emails and presenting them to the company as her own. And they hired her to be a liaison because she supposedly knew what she was doing when no, she was literally stealing and copying my content. So I have been dealing with content being ripped off from day one, and I will fight you about my content. And that's why I have no problem naming thieves like Lee and others, because if you're so great at what you do, why do you have to copy other people? Okay, so in today's video, we are going to talk about and not just go down this path of this person stole from me and that person stole from me because I don't live there. What we're going to talk about is how to remain an original in a world of cheap copies and fakes, because it's really difficult to stand out when you're just a cheap copy and a fake, right? That you can't make your next move until the original makes their next move. Okay. So, one of the things I'd like to do is definitely welcome you all here. And if you're watching the replay, make sure that you share this video if you find any value in it at all. If you are a true creator, at some point, you've dealt with thievery, you've dealt with cheap copies, fakes, and so on and so forth. And yes, it does get muddy because more than one person can come up with the same idea. I'm not talking about that though. I'm talking about people literally hanging on your every word and watching your next move so that they can decide what their next move is. And if you are a true disruptor, if you are a true innovator, if you are a true creator, it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. You are following that call, that pull, that vision that is inside of you. And that is what is going to make you stand out. Okay. So, one of the first things I like to do and I meant to pull out this binder before I got going here, and that is I like to not only look at what content I'm going to create, I do like to assess what is trending out there. Okay. So I'm going to see what is trending out there. But the first thing I'm going to do is not just look at what people in my space are talking about, what they're posting about, what trends they're sharing. I'm going to look overall. I'm going to look at maybe some adjacent industries. I'm going to look at different brands, different companies, different industries that are doing it right and see what I can borrow from that space, from that influencer, from that brand, from that company, and tweak it, not only make it my own, but make it apply to my industry and to my ideal client. The alpha and the omega of all of this is your ideal client and how you serve them. And if you lose sight of that, you end up following trends for the sake of following trends. So you really want to identify who those key industries are. And then you're going to want to look at who are the leaders in that space and analyze their content strategies and see what can you borrow from that is going to be able to then be applied directly to what you do, because then it doesn't look like you're stealing. Then it looks like you are actually just being a part of the trend. Okay. So it's just so important. I can't stress this enough. If you lose your value proposition, if you lose who you are, your ideal client is not going to value you enough to want to keep following you and even invest in you. Okay. So it's just I can't stress this enough because I see so much copying and pasting, and I will scroll my timeline and I will see post after post after post with literally the same word, and I just because who really wants to follow a bunch of copiers? If you're a leader, you lead, and leading means setting the pace, setting the tone, and having everybody else following you and copying you. So yes, I do know that, I'm great at what I do. So of course there are people who are going to copy me. They literally listen to me on, summits, and next thing you know, I see them creating freebies, even though they said they don't believe in creating a lot of freebies, but they felt the need to create a freebie that really doesn't even pertain to their ideal client or what they do, which honestly, in this case, I think they're a little confused about that. But they create a freebie based on what I said because they saw a lot of people valued it. They saw a lot of people, asking questions and get excited about what I said. So they thought if they go and they create a freebie, and that's great, you created a freebie, right? You've got a lot of people who raise their hand for your freebie. I know that most of those people who raise their hand for the freebie are just literally that, freebie seekers. When it comes time to actually invest They're not going to. They love doing business the most expensive way possible, which is free. And free is going to spend you a lot of time, effort, headache, frustration, and overwhelm. And I love that for them. But see, that's what happens when you copy people and you don't stay true to your ideal client. Your ideal client is obviously not a freebie seeker, but now you've attracted a bunch of freebie seekers and now you've got to deal with that, right? And so when you are using your own voice and your own style, which by the way, I teach in the NextGen Content Masterclass, that can't be duplicated. It just can't, because people are really going to look at them like, oh, like we've all seen the bad Michael Jackson impersonator, right? We've all seen the bad Prince impersonator, and we've seen really good ones, but we still know that they're not the original. We still know that they are not the legend, right? And it's okay in certain instances to be that, but you can't be out here acting like you are the original or you came up with the idea. That gets really, really weird. And when people know that you're copying, yet they still, want the freebie, it's because they generally like freebies, okay? And that's why it's also important to really build your own audience and do it authentically, okay? Because that's one of the ways you're going to differentiate your content from others. Because when you build that audience, sometimes you end up creating your own, not only rhythm and flow, but your own language, your own mannerisms, your own ways of communicating with each other. And people either want to be a part of that or they don't, right? And yes, process of elimination is part of the process. We want to embrace that. You want to leverage tools and technology like AI, right? AI can definitely help you with remaining original, but you've got to know what to put in it to remain original. So, like, I can tell, I watched a TikTok this morning and it was completely driven by AI because it was so basic, it was so general. There was no real value that a person couldn't have put that in AI themselves and come up with what was in that video. And that is what I teach. And that is why I am not concerned about AI taking my job, because AI doesn't have the 30 years of experience. AI doesn't have the bachelor's and the master's in seeing and experience the things and the human interaction that I have experienced with sales, marketing, and leadership over 30 years. Okay. So, the important thing is to make sure that, for example, if you see someone do a list of 7 tips, right? You might agree with 3 or 4 of those tips. And what's going to keep it original is those other 3 or 4 tips that you are going to add to it to make it your own and put your own opinion and your own spin on it. And that's what I love about the content calendar bundle, because the content calendar bundle not only gives you the hooks, it's going to give you the call to actions, right? But with the masterclass, I'm going to teach you how to pull all that together so that it is your own. And a lot of these hooks are just that. They are about your opinion. They are about your own experience in transformations. And that's how you keep it original. That's how you keep it a buck, as they say where I come from. Okay. So if you would like more information on this masterclass, if you'd like more information on this content bundle that comes with the masterclass, all you have to do is text class to 414-404-6040. You can also visit tamarahamilton.com/masterclass. I also have a freebie that is the essential guide to social media engagement, because it's a lot easier to get consistent and sustainable results when you have that community, when you have that tribe, when you have that vibe that people want. And a lot of that is going to come from getting engagement. Okay. So there's something else I had just thought of and I completely forgot. But let's just, sum this up again. To remain an original in a world of cheap copies and fakes, the first thing you want to do is know who it is that you serve and how you serve them, because everything else is out of alignment with that. And it can end up attracting people to you that you just don't want to do business with, right? Doesn't mean they're bad people, doesn't mean they're worthless or unworthy. It just means that you don't serve them, and that's okay. So instead of copying someone, maybe you should refer them to the original person. It is okay to share things and say it was inspired by someone else, okay? Don't just look within your own space. Look around you. What other spaces, because you're more than just whatever it is you do, right? Low carb state of mind. Like, I get inspired by her, and I try her recipes all the time. And I will say, I tried this recipe from, right? So it's okay to say where you got it from. No one's gonna unfollow you or unfriend you. They're going to start looking at you as a resource and the plug. So instead of copying and taking what you hear me provide value with to others and creating your own freebie, maybe you should just do that. Say, I have a friend that does this, and I would be more than happy to make the intro. Or tag, there's that tag feature. That's what that is for, right? So, and this isn't just personal, it's not about me. I see creators of all sizes having to have this conversation with their audience, right? So you're going to look at other industries and what are they doing and how you can apply it back to your own company, product, and industry, to your own brands, to your audience, your community, your tribe. Okay. You're going to want to keep your own unique voice. And I don't mean the baby voice, I mean your brand voice. What is your brand about? What does your brand stand for? And to help you do that, I have this content bundle that actually helps you with hooks that are categorized by personal and transformations. It's your unpopular opinions, right, is broken down by about 5 or 6 different categories of hooks, along with another 4 or 5 categories, about 5 or 6 categories of call to actions that are designed to convert. Because here's what you risk when you are a cheap copy and imitation of someone else. People are going to figure it out, and they're going to figure it out quickly. And someone like me is going to be like, why should I settle for a cheap fake or copy when I can get the real thing? I'm going to go over here and I'm going to follow the real thing. Okay. You do not have to respond to everybody in your space who provides value. You don't have to compete, is what I'm actually trying to say, right? There is enough out here for all of us to eat. You don't have to try to compete with me, because you can't, because you ain't me. You don't have the sauce that I have. You have the sauce that you have. And I am always more than happy to connect people to others who have the sauce that they have, and that is their space and what they do. I am more than happy to send people over there to them. And do you know why? Because I don't want to be frazzled. I want to stay in my zen. I want to stay in my peace. I don't want to be dealing with a bunch of things that I don't have the sauce for, that I don't have, that are beyond my scope, and that I don't have the expertise in. Okay. So let's just do the right thing. Let's not be a cheap copy or a fake. And if you struggle with how to do that, what I highly, highly, highly recommend is getting the NextGen Content Masterclass. And to get a sneak peek into what that's about, you can download the Essential Guide to Social Media Engagement at tamirahamilton.com/engagement. You can also text engagement to 414-404-6040. I will chat with you soon. Bye.